remember how I said after last week's episode of The Masked Singer that was the biggest upset I think I've seen in the show's history? Apparently I never could have predicted what happened last night. I'll get to that momentarily, but first let's get to my low, my high, my active kindness. So, let's see, what would my low be? My low would be, well, it rained a lot yesterday. Cleared up now though, but definitely rained a lot yesterday. My high is I got to see my family yesterday, my mom and dad. We had a ground beef stew yesterday. That was really good for dinner. And last night's episode of The Masked Singer was incredible, to be sure. And my act of kindness was I emptied the dehumidifier for my folks. I brought out the garbage cans. And I also set the table for dinner. So, yeah, let's talk about The Masked Singer because there's a lot to unravel here. Well, first of all, I mean, let's start with the obvious. Let's start with the obvious. Last night, usually towards the season's end, they say it's going to be like a 2-hour special. That first hour is just essentially like everyone like recapping the season. It's a clip show. And basically, I mean, as I've gotten older, I learned why people don't really care much for clip shows. Especially when you're me and you clearly saw everything throughout the show's run, or the season's run. So I didn't really need to watch it. But you know, I'm sure if you did watch the clip show, I'm sure it was good. But I went in to last night's actual episode, when the episode actually started at 9, firmly believing I knew who the final two were going to be. Nope. I was half right. And then I wound up being half not right. So let's start with the part that I was actually right about. Oh, actually, let's start with the group performance of Higher Love by Kyogo? Or Kygo? I ain't gonna lie, man, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Featuring Whitney Houston, you know, A Higher Love. That was a good group performance. It was. Very nice. And then they started with the Gumball, who did I Lived by One Republic. Very good. Now, keep in mind, normally when I watch The Masked Singer, before I continue, I watch it at my folks' place. You know, I watch with my mom and dad. But since I knew that it'd be really late if I actually stayed there till 10 o'clock, I figured, you know what, I gotta get back here. So throughout the evening, you know, as we're watching the actual episode, my mom is like texting me, like, what, and we're pretty much in agreement about several things. One thing we're definitely in agreement on is something I'll get to momentarily. Before that though, The Clock did Dancing in the Street by Martha and the Vandalist, which she was great. The Clock has proven to be a veritable queen this whole competition. At this point, I'm thinking, yes, this is what I've been watching all season regarding The Clock. Like, who is going to stop the clock? Well, again, I'll get to the upset in a minute. And then there was The Goldfish, who did You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette, which I need to take a moment to talk about that song. Because if you recall a few weeks ago, I sort of did a video about the soundtrack of my life. Again, full disclosure, if you didn't see that video, I mentioned how there would be a lot of songs. Like, more songs than I think you could ever have in a lifetime. And among the songs on my soundtrack of life, there are those that you hear and you think, not only do I look back to that time in my life when I thought the world made sense, but then it really didn't. You hear a song like You Ought to Know, and I'm like, that was me at like a more innocent time, before I started getting depressed, and before, at that time, I thought about committing suicide. Like it was a simpler time, a good time. And hearing Alanis Morissette's You Ought to Know, that brought it back. So, I mean, look, it's pretty obvious of the things my mom texted me last night as the show was going on. We're pretty much in agreement that the Goldfish is going to win this whole thing. I see no way in hell this competition is the Goldfishes to lose. No question. However, I didn't expect what happened next. A three-way battle royale. Which I don't think we've never been battle royales in the show before. I mean, we had several this season, but never a three-way one. That means somebody was going home. Although, frankly, if they were going to do a battle royale, I don't know why they just didn't have the finale last night. I mean, I get why, keep the show going on a little bit longer, make more money out of it. I get that. That's totally a thing that Hollywood does. But of all the songs to do a battle royale performance on, you have it be the song. The song that, the song that put Kelly Clarkson on the map. The song that put American Idol on the map. A Moment Like This by Kelly Clarkson. I mean, actually, yeah, when you think of American Idol, one of the people you think of is easily Kelly Clarkson, and rightfully so. Although I will admit, I remember I hated the fact that she won, because I was at that age in my life where I thought boys were better than girls. So, a girl wins, I was not happy with that. And then I hit puberty, and then I realized how hot Kelly Clarkson is. So, there you go. With that said, a battle royale with the song A Moment Like This. And after hearing all three performances of that song, again, my mom texts me, Goldfish is the winner. I text her, winner of the battle royale or winner of the whole thing? The whole thing. Which, yeah. Again, this whole competition is the Goldfishes to lose. And I have to say that now because of what wound up happening. The clock got voted off. What? I mean, listen. Well, for one thing, it's very clear I've been very much underestimating the gumball. Much like how I underestimated the cow last season. But I didn't think the clock would... Oh, wait, here's the thing. It was the audience's fault that the clock got voted off, so whoever the audience was, I blame you. Because it really should be the clock versus the Goldfish in the finale. But the people voted who they wanted off, so it wound up being the clock. Again, it's very clear I underestimated the gumball, and I will admit, gumball's pretty good. Pretty good indeed. But I can tell you right now, his fun is going to end next week. Because again, this whole competition is the Goldfishes to lose. I see no possible outcome that the gumball actually wins this whole thing. Unless the universe likes to mess with me. And then, in which case, the gumball, in fact, does win. If that happens, the level of irritability that I will have if that happens. Good Lord. So, yeah, needless to say, last night was a lot of fun. And it was really great to hear Thelma Houston sing Don't Leave Me This Way. Oh yeah, Thelma Houston was the clock. Which, shout out to Rita Ora, who guessed that clock correctly. I mean, this was a fantastic episode, to be sure. And honestly, what we have here is, I texted my mom, I think they won the classic boys versus girls battle for like the finale, which, okay, everyone loves a good boys versus girls debate. Why not? But this is also a story. This is also the classic case of you've got one competitor who has been very much consistent from the very first note that they sang, being the goldfish. In the very first episode that they were in. Very first episode of the season was the goldfish. And then you have the gumball who, for better or for worse, was the best singer of Group B. I mean, listen, Group B was clearly the weakest of like the three groups, at least to my recollection. So it really was a matter of someone had to win it. So, I mean, I actually thought it was going to be Cleopatra, but no, it was a gumball. This gumball is really starting to become, you know what, I think because it's a gumball, they call it gumball, really it's a gumball machine. Like, someone needs to dismantle the machine. Actually, I shouldn't say that. That has a lot of connotations that I could not fully understand in life. So with all that said, I'm really looking forward to the finale. I am. I think we're going to get a very worthy season finale. I mean, if anything, I think this is going to be more like season 8 was for me, because when season 8 ended, I went off to say that was probably the best season finale we had. And it still holds up. I mean, listen, of all the Masked Singer champions, I mean, T-Pain is the monster. Shoot, why am I forgetting LeAnn Rimes as the son? Why did I forget that? Holy cow. Bishop Briggs is Medusa. I think we're going to get a finale up to that level. I really think we are. And I forgot who the harp was from season 8. I'm very sorry. It just begs, because it's very clear that since this is the finale, what's going to happen is both the goldfish and the gumball are going to do essentially kind of like a warm-up song to get the crowd going, and then they'll have their final performance. Now, if I was in this, this is what I would do. If I was in this competition, and I actually made it to the finale, and it was between me and one other person, naturally, I would need to pick out the 2 songs that best describe me, the best songs that I know for a fact I could sing better than anyone else. But I also have to be very strategic as which song goes first. Because it's very possible that the warm-up song could be my best song, only for my final performance to not be as good, and therefore my opponent could actually win. So this really is more than just a singing competition. This is a game of strategy here. the kind of strategy that makes or breaks a contestant on this show. Now, I'm sure as I speak, everybody in Los Angeles where the show takes place is probably asleep because it's almost 4 a.m. right now. Yeah, it's almost 7 a.m. here. It's 3 hours behind, so probably 4 a.m. in Los Angeles. But I'm sure that the instant whoever the goldfish or the gumball are, when they wake up, they're immediately going to be practicing what their final performance is going to be. To the gumball, if I was wearing a hat right now, I'd be tipping it off to you. Because you probably have come the longest way of any contestant I've ever seen on the show, and that is to be recommended. To the goldfish, from the very first note, from the very first episode of this whole season, you have been absolutely destroying everything. But be careful. Don't rest on your laurels, because this competition is yours to lose. It means you could still lose it. To both contestants, I say to staying smart, not hard. Get plenty of rest throughout this week, even though the episode's probably already recorded right now, and therefore, I'm sure the winner's already known, not going to reveal until next Wednesday. And no matter what happens, I'm sure that you're going to be giving us the greatest performance ever shown on The Masked Singer. But then again, that's just me. I hope you all like this video. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on social media. As always, I'm very home in this video. For all you guys who watch, enjoy for today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. I forgot to say happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, everyone. And remember, if you want to talk channel, which we're here to lend you guys. Take care and make good choices. 6071 thing, baby.